Hi, Mr. Eaton here with a Year 9 video lesson on operations with fractions. As always, remember to write some notes in the study notes section of your exercise books and to put the video on pause whenever you need to. Alright, well, to add and subtract fractions, the first thing we need to do is convert each fraction to an equivalent fraction that have the same denominator. That's what an equivalent fraction means, same denominator. So have a go at doing this fraction addition sum over here. Put the video on pause and give it a go, remembering to get equivalent fractions for these denominators. So what is our lowest common multiple of 2 and 5? Well, simply we could just say 2 times 5, and that'll give us a denominator, a common denominator. So that would be 10, because 2 times 5 is 10. What did I do to the 2 to get 5? Well, I multiplied 2 by 5 to get 10. Therefore, I need to multiply 1 by 5. So 1 by 5 is 5. What did I do to the 5 to get 10? Well, I multiplied it by 2. Therefore, 2 times 3 gives me 6. So my answer over here would be 5 and 6 is 11 over 10, which is an improper fraction, and simplified down would give me 1 and 1/10. Alright, have a go at this one. Here we have mixed numbers, so we need to turn them into improper fractions, and then we need to find the common denominator, and then we need to solve the problem. Put the video on pause and give it a go. So the first thing to do is to turn these numbers into improper fractions. So 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5 over 3, plus 6 fours are 24, plus 5 is 29 over 6. The next thing we need to do is make these common denominators. So what am I going to do to 3 to get to 6? Well, I'm just going to multiply it by 2. So therefore I'm going to say 5 times 2 is 10, and 3 times 2 is 6. So that'll be 10 over 6 added to 29 over 6. Alright, so now we have common denominators. Now I simply add my numerators. Don't add your denominators. Leave your denominator as 6. It's only your numerators that you add. Therefore I would have 39 over 6. The next thing I need to do is, because that is now an improper fraction, I need to simplify that to make it a mixed number. So how many times does 6 go into 39? Well, 6 goes into 39 6 times, because 6 times 6 is 36, and I've got 3 left over, so 3 over 9, sorry, 3 over 6, and I can simplify this even further by saying that that is 1 and that is 2, because 3 can go into 6 twice, so my answer in fact would be 6 and 1/2. Alright, well now here is a subtraction sum. Now that's a mixed number, and I want to subtract this mixed number from this mixed number. So what do I need to do? Turn it into an improper fraction, find a common denominator, then do my subtraction and simplify if I need to. Put the video on pause and give it a go. Alright, well 3 5s are 15 plus 2, it gives me 17 over 5. Subtract 4 2s are 8, plus 3 gives me 11 over 4. Alright, I now need to find a common denominator. And to do that, I'm just simply going to multiply 5 by 4. 5 4s are 20. So that is going to give me my common denominator of 20. Alright, so 5 goes into 20 4 times. 4 times 17 gives me 68. How many times does 4 go into 20? Well, it goes in 5 times, so 5 times 11 gives me 55, minus 55. Alright, so 68 subtract 55 gives me 13 over 20. And can I simplify that any further? No, I can't, because my denominator is larger than my numerator, therefore I have a proper fraction, so that would be my answer. Alright, so now to multiply fractions, what we need to do is multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. And often in multiplication sums we have the word of, and that means to multiply. Alright, well let's see if you can do this sum over here. 2/3 multiplied by 5/7. Work it out, put the video on pause and come back when you're ready. Alright, well I'm just simply going to say 2 times 5 gives me 10 over what is 3 times 7. 3 7s are 21. Well done. So my answer is 10 over 21 because I can't simplify it any further. There's nothing common here, so therefore that is a proper fraction and that is my answer. Right, we'll have a go at multiplying two mixed numbers together. Remember what you've got to do. You've got to turn this into an improper fraction and that one into an improper fraction, and then you just got to multiply your numerator and multiply your denominators. Put the video on pause and give it a go. Alright, so 1 times 3 is 3 plus 2 will give me 5. So it'll be 5 over 3 multiplied by 2 times 10 is 20 plus the 1 would be 21 over 10. Alright, now I can have a look at this note over here. It says cancel the highest common factor between any numerator and denominator before multiplying. If I have a look at 5 and I have a look at 10, I can say that 5 goes into 5 once and 5 goes into 10 twice. Likewise, I can say that 3 goes into 3 once and 3 goes into 21 7. So 1 and 7. Now the important thing to remember here is that you can only go crossways, alright, or top to bottom. You cannot go side to side. So crossways like the multiplied, top to bottom, but you cannot go sideways. And now I simply multiply out. 1 times 7 would give me 7, and 1 times 2 would give me 2. This obviously is an improper fraction, so I need to simplify it down. So how many times does 2 go into 7? It goes in 3 times. What's left over? 1, and my denominator is 2. So that is my answer. Alright, so when we get to division we have something called a reciprocal. Now a reciprocal of a number is simply reversing the numerator and the denominator, so swapping them over. And this is very important when we do dividing of fractions. So by way of example, what is the reciprocal of 1/2? Well, the reciprocal of 1/2 is taking our denominator and putting it up where our numerator is, and where our numerator is, putting it down where our denominator is. So the reciprocal of 1/2 is actually 2 over 1. And we know it's a reciprocal because if we multiplied them together, we would get the answer of 1. So 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 1 is 2. And if we simplified that down, we would get 1. So therefore we know that the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2 over 1. So when we do division of fractions, we multiply the second fraction by its reciprocal. So we have a look at that second fraction and we do the reciprocal of that. So we put the 25, which is the denominator, we bring it up to where the numerator is, and we take the numerator, the 12, and we put it down where the denominator is. Put the video on pause and try and solve this problem and come back when you're ready. Right, so the first thing I do is I leave my first fraction exactly as it is, 4 over 15, and I then multiply and I do the reciprocal of 12 25ths, so that would be 25 over 12, which is called the reciprocal. I can now simplify within my fractions. So how many times does 5 go into 15? Well, 5 goes into 15 3 times. And how many times does it go into 25? It goes in 5 times. How many times does 4 go into 4? Once. And 4 goes into 12? 3 times. Alright, so I can now multiply out. I will now say that 1 times 5 gives me 5 over what is 3 times 3? 3 times 3 is 9. Therefore, 4/15 divided by 12/25 is in fact 5/9. Alright, last bit of practice, another one for you to do. Put the video on pause, try it, and when you're ready, come back. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is turn these into improper fractions. So 1 times 18 is 18, plus 17 gives me 35 over 18. I'm just going to put the divide there for the moment. 1 times 27 is 27, plus 1 being 28 over 27. Okay, now I've turned them into improper fractions, so I can do the reciprocal of that, and I've changed my divide into a multiply. Okay, so I have 35 over 18 multiplied by 27 over 28. Okay, so that is the reciprocal of that fraction, and we change our divide to a multiplied. And now we simply see if we can do some simplification within these two fractions. Alright, I know my 7 times tables, so I know that 7 goes into 35 5 times, and 7 goes into 28 4 times. And I also know my 9 times tables. 9 2s are 18, oops, so that's a 2, and 9 goes into 27 3 times. Alright, I can't simplify any further, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 5 times 3, that would give me 15, and what is 2 times 4? 2 4s are 8. That is an improper fraction, okay, because our denominator is smaller than our numerator. Therefore, we need to simplify it out, and I know that 8 goes into 15 once, with 7/8 left over. And that is the answer. Well done, and that is also the end of operations with fractions lesson.